We are now officially just 160 days away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by director J.J. Abrams. That is all set and ready to end the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is going to introduce many different aspects of the Star Wars franchise that fans have never seen before on the big screen in Star Wars film history. And what I really like about that is that shows that J.J. Abrams is very ambitious about this Star Wars film. He's trying to be a pioneer, if you will, trying to introduce different pieces of Star Wars lore that we have never experienced before on the big screen in history. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this movie, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, shot descriptions consisting of both Rey and Kylo Ren fighting in the middle of the First Order battlefield, where it's described that they are engaging in a lightsaber duel and exchanging powerful lightsaber strikes against each other. It said that one of the scenes involves a moment where Kylo Ren uses Force lightning against Rey, where she blocks it with her saber and walks closer to Kylo, where she dodges the attack. The next describes a moment where both Rey and Kylo's sabers are said to clash together, where the environment around them begins to shift into the interior of Palpatine's throne room from Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, where it's described that as both Rey and Kylo Ren fight each other, that they are also fighting alongside both Luke and Vader during their duel from Episode 6, where the Emperor is seen sitting in his throne. One of the sequences between both Luke and Vader is said to involve the moment in which Vader tosses his saber at Luke. However, it's said to be done from a different angle, as it's a wide shot showing the audience a different view of the fight between father and son. The last goes over a sequence in which Kylo uses the Force Repulse technique against Rey, creating a shockwave, whereas she uses the attack at the moment where Vader throws Palpatine down the shaft, and as the explosion occurs, the environment goes back to the First Order battlefield. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, because the flash fights are not only going to bring both Rey and Kylo Ren to popular planets of the Star Wars Skywalker saga, but also to iconic moments within the Star Wars franchise itself, such as this one in particular that's said to start off on the battlefield of the First Order, where they exchange a couple of lightsaber moves and clashes against each other, where Kylo Ren eventually uses the Force Lightning technique. Now, we heard about this slightly before in the past, that Kylo will use Force Lightning in the film. We're not quite sure if it's going to be the traditional blue color, or if it's going to be red or yellow like in Star Wars Legends material. But I digress. The thing that's really interesting about this is that it eventually transitions to a moment where they actually go into a flash fight, where they are now fighting alongside both Luke and Vader inside of Palpatine's throne room from Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Now, what does this necessarily mean? Does this really mean that J.J. Abrams is telling us, of course, that they are time traveling, or is this more or less a simulation, if you will, of Rey and Kylo Ren revisiting an old moment from the original trilogy? I'm going to go ahead and say that this is more so a simulation. I don't think it's necessarily time travel per se. You know, we do know that Episode 9 is going to tap into that element of the actual film itself, but we also know that this movie is going to also enhance the experience by showing us different force powers and different types of things like that. So with that being said, the other piece that I do want to go over that also includes a lot of elements between both Kylo Ren and Rey is where, as they are fighting in the background, it's said to feature one of the iconic moments between Vader and Luke from the original trilogies, where he tosses the saber in midair and it almost hits Luke, and that's where he dodges it. So that's said to actually be seen in the background in the form of a wide shot from a different angle that eventually transitions to the very moment in which Vader tosses Palpatine into the shaft of the Death Star 2, where it explodes and the Death Star basically vanishes, and that transitions to where both Rey and Kylo are now fighting on the battlefield of the First Order once again. So the flash fights, a lot of people are having a lot of mixed reactions about this on whether or not it's a good or a bad idea, or a step in the right or wrong direction by Disney and Lucasfilm. However, I think it's a really good idea because it shows us that we can actually visit the older, familiar moments of the originals and the prequels in a very short amount of time without wasting a lot of screen time for the other characters that are going to be pretty much a big highlight in this movie. And I think it's an effective way to really bring fans, down a trip to memory lane for the past 8 movies that come before this one. So the last thing that I want to go over is, of course, the whole entire Flash fight, right? We do know that they're going to be jumping from planet to planet, from different environments to different environments of the Skywalker saga, that's really going to stand on its own and really set itself apart from The Last Jedi, showing us these different Force powers that we have never seen before in history. And I think it's really going to make fans look back at the expanded universe and the Legends material to see exactly, what JJ used as inspirational source material to tell a very good story. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.